and gentlemen, to the Social General's quarters. And today we have the after action report with Downsizeit from the LSO. Ben?
Rob?
How did you have a good time?
Oh yes,
on there?
Very much so. I was very happy with the experience. I was had some trepidation going into it. You know, some preconceptions that I might run into some unpleasant players or jerks, that kind of thing across the table, because it has happened to me before on my only one experience in Armada at Gen Con. It happened to me once. But those trepidations were unfounded. Everybody I played was very pleasant and a nice guy to play with. The tables I observed, just all good collegial games going on, high level games, very competitive. I mean,
it seemed it from what I could see. Anyway.
Everyone was playing high level, but nobody was an asshole, and that was what I was mainly worried about. And it was so just as far as that preconception, I was wrong, and it's actually that experience has turned me on to want to do more tournaments.
Oh, good.
Because it was such a good experience. The people there were very inviting. And just very pleasant to hang out with and talk to and play against, regardless of what was going on in the game.
So speaking about getting known people and stuff like that, and some of your videos that you already posted, you mentioned that you've gone I think a dinner or maybe get together with a bunch of them, like the night before. I don't know if it's the first night, maybe the second night of the night.
Yeah, so it was the night before, Thursday night, and I reached it. It was on the Discord, and Kellorn goes by Paul, who runs the Discord for TTS, had created a channel for the Lone Star Open just so we could communicate with each other. And myself and Aaron, we just went down to the bar and just had a couple of drinks, and I posted in that channel that, hey, for anybody that wants to, you can join us for drinks. We just get to know each other in person. And Paul, who goes by Kellorn, was there. Derek Karnek is what most people know him by, came by. JD, I believe, if I'm hope that's the right one, JD Mood Swing, I believe that's the right one. And then, who is Gene, who goes by, I can't remember what he goes by, maybe, I don't want to say the wrong thing. But he's one that has a really awesome Chimera paint job that you guys have seen in my previous, recap videos. But they were all there, they just hung out, had a few drinks, just chatted, and got some good advice from everybody because they were all familiar with competitive play. And Aaron and I were basically just listening to them and telling us just some first-time player advice, that kind of thing.
Do you mind sharing some of that first-time player advice? Because I would love to go to a tournament, but like you, back in the day, I was involved in a few Magic tournaments, and they get very, very. I won't say put it really hard players to play against. We'll just say it nicely.
Yeah.
And that a local store that you and I play at as well.
Yeah.
We've been involved in such things where they've been pretty interesting players to be around, anyways. So I think that turned me off from tournaments right there. But after seeing what you went through and talking with you, because I'm in constant contact with him while I was at the LSO, and he was like, no, this has been great. Great. So, what advice did they give you as a new, tournament player?
So, probably the main one that was interesting was from Paul, that he gave to both myself and to Aaron, was don't be afraid to just call for a judge if you guys can't, if the measurement's really close or whatever, or you need a ruling. Don't feel like there's a stigma to that. Don't feel like you're being a jerk.
Right.
Or being a rules lawyer, or like trying to assume that your opponent's cheating.
Right.
It's just a matter of high-level competitive play. A couple times it happened in my games where we mutually agreed just to call a judge over just because we couldn't. Yeah. It was such a close measurement. We just wanted to get a neutral arbiter. And there's a couple times we called a judge over just for a ruling. There was a rules confusion going on. We just needed to get Karnik's ruling and clarification on how card interaction worked and how something with squadrons was working. So that was one of the main things that he talked to us about. Just don't be afraid to call for a judge. It doesn't make you a jerk or anything. That's just part of normal play, and everybody expects it, and then when the judge makes his ruling, just accept it and then move on. So, and that was actually really good advice because, when it happened in the games, I didn't feel like, oh man, I don't want to be like this guy that's calling, because I'm a casual player,
Right.
Like there was a couple, and we'll get into it when we get to more details of the games, but there were a couple instances where if we were just playing casually, I probably would have just given them the shot,
right,
or just sit there. But it was one of those where it was in a tournament, and it was a key point in the game where it could be a major swing either way, and we were both wanting to compete at the high level, so it was just ultra close.
Mm-hmm.
So we just called Karnak over. He made his ruling, and then we moved on. And it was was interesting how that's just a natural state of the play, and there's no and just not having any stigma behind it. So.
Well, it probably helped that Karnak is such a great guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, you asked him, sure.
Fantastic tournament organizer. I mean, just keeping it lighthearted and loose, but also making sure that we understood the rules.
Yep.
And that we abide by them, and just finding that really good balance between keeping it casual, but also maintaining a good high level competitive play. So.
That's great. So now your first night. Well, actually, your first morning, because you went there early in the morning to show us the tables, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And you're going around, and you show us the table, and you said that this is a question I had. How did the trays, because you were worried about the trays fitting on the table.
Yeah, so.
How did that work?
I tell you what, I mean, I've already extolled Garrett Vance a lot. I'm going to do it again. His tournament tray system was a lifesaver, I gotta say. That took away so much stress.
I bet.
There were 4 of us there that had them. And we were just able there, just with ease, to be able to set up and tear down and not have to worry about organizing and pull things out of the box and try to. And several of the guys who didn't have them, they were just looking at us like, man, I gotta get one of these for next time. I think Garrett might have a few new orders in the queue after this. It was such a fantastic system. And even we were on really small tables. My only other experience was at Gen Con 4 years ago, when they had really big tables. I mean, there's space, plenty of space left over to put all your stuff, on the long edge, plenty of space on the short edge. These tables, there was no room on the short edge.
Okay.
And then the close edge, I mean, like with the trays, yes, I was looking over onto the actual play mat a little bit. The only time I ever mattered was when deploying, so I'll just scoot them back a little bit to make sure I could deploy. But once you moved out, still plenty of space for the tournament trays. And so, so even on the ultra close, small space that we had to play on, the tournament tray system was fantastic. Fortunately, there are plenty of chairs, so I just put the actual crate and my tackle boxes just on the chair next to me to stage and stuff. And that's what everybody else did. They just put it on a chair. And we were able to make things work. But I can't even imagine I was so nervous the first 2 games that I can't even imagine trying to have to then finagle all my cards, tokens, and sort everything. Having everything packed and sorted and organized before I even came down, and then I can just the trays out and I'm good to go. That was just a whole level of stress and worry I didn't have to worry about, because I was nervous enough as it was.
Yeah, we could see that you said you were shaking like your nerves.
First 2 games, man, I was just like my hands were just shaking like crazy. And my first opponent, we were both actually first couple. I think we were also like this, man.
You both were. That's good.
No, we were all nervous, man.
That's what made you feel better. That's right. So when you're that nervous, how did you kind of somehow calm yourself to focus on the game?
I'll tell you what, I didn't calm myself. The first couple games, I wasn't.
Honest answer, right there. Okay, that's good.
It was that just came down to I was just trying to. When I was playing my first dials for the first couple games, when I'm doing my strip dials, thrown dials, I just had just remember your base strategies, who you're facing, and just think about. The first game was not as difficult as the second. Because the second one, I will get into that, but as far as planning, I'm trying to deal with the stress. Yeah. But the first one was fortunate enough that there wasn't a whole lot of complication going on with my opponent's list. I was able to do some basic strategies with my command dials and my Thrawn dials, so I didn't have to think too much about it. And it was basically, it just had to come with experience. After my first 2 games, my second 2 games on the first day, I was still nervous, but much more relaxed. The physical aspects of the nerves were far more calmed down. That just came from getting 2 games in my belt and just getting comfortable with the setting. So.
Good. So why not, since you started talking about the first game, anyways, let me just get into that. You played Evan.
Yep.
And he had an MC 80 Grand Cruiser, Akbar. It sounds like he's a very, very, he was a couple of Akbar lists, if I remember correctly.
I think there were 3 Akbar lists.
And then he had a Corvette A, typical with the TRCs and the James Light, an Assault Frigate 2, which you're a potato. Hopefully you smash it. And then a Corvette 90, CR90.
As well. Yeah.
A.
Yeah, 2 TRC 90s, and one of them had James Light, basically very classic. So.
And Shower Tycho just a
Shower Tycho just sweet bubs. Yep, that was Evan. And he had the Akbar list, and he chose. The first day, I went second every time. I never had a choice, and I knew that going in because was only one other person had 400 points. I was the only other person at 400, so I never had the choice. And the first day, I went for second every time. And Evan actually chose Advanced Gunnery. It was very surprising. Didn't think he'd give it to me.
Really?
Yeah, so he chose Advanced Gunnery as first player, put it on his Akbar MC80. I obviously put mine on my Kuat.
Right, yes.
And you guys will see some pictures coming up. I'm just pulling up here just so one I can remember so that Rob can see what's going on.
Right.
So the first picture you should see is right after deployment. And in every single one of my deployments, I always put the Kuat down first and then put squads next to it.
Okay.
To try to delay where Thrawn would go, just so I can see and counter deploy a little bit with Thrawn. And as you can see here, we're basically kind of deployed opposite, but at opposite sides of each other, angles of each other.
Yes.
Really started a turning battle in a way. He put Char and Tycho far enough out there just so that he could challenge me and maybe slow me down at the beginning. And the first couple rounds were just mainly maneuvering. The second picture you see, I'm trying to remember, I think this was either at the very start, of round 3, after he had activated his first CR90. So I'd been, you did a couple maneuver dials and engineering dials at the start to get some tokens and to start activating my fleet commands.
Right.
And you can see that I was able to do some pretty hard turns with my ISDs and basically lineups where I'm now going right into the midst, straight on into his forces. And his first activation this round, I believe this was round 3, was his Jaina's Light CR90, and you can see it ended. He took some shots and then he ended right next to the Kuat.
Yes.
And it didn't last long after that. It died almost. It died to one shot to the Kuat.
Looks like you have a double arc in this picture, anyways.
I can't remember if I was double arced. It was very close, but I didn't need it because I'm trying to remember what I did first. I think I did actually the Chimera first because I didn't want to put the Kuat right into Akbar's range right away.
Right. No.
So I think I did the Chimera first. I did a squadron command. So technically wasn't a one shot, and so I sent my squads in to work on Jaina's Light. And then the Kuat side battery finished it off. And he had already put some shots on it, and again, because of shooting Palpatine, he had to already exhaust a couple of one of his. I think he had to be double arc. He had to do an evade and a redirect. I think to take shots at.
Yeah, it looks like he has a double arc.
Well, this was after he moved.
Oh,
so it's tough with pictures because you guys don't know have they moved yet. It's just after they moved. Have they shot yet? I'll try to describe as best I can and best as I can remember. As you can see, also, I was playing very cagey with my squad, just keeping them back so they didn't get locked down.
Which is you. I mean, you normally play that way.
Yeah. You also notice Evan is also being cagey with Shara and Tycho as well. He's also holding them back because no one wants to overcommit at this point. So the next picture you see, so this is where I made my blunder.
Oh, okay.
So I made a pretty big mistake that almost cost me the game.
Okay.
I was actually in a very good spot that I don't think I would have tabled him if I would have made this mistake, but I think I would have gotten a much higher victory, maybe a 9-2. Right. So this is after I had Akbar lined up with my Kuat. I was able to take 2 shots into him from the front, and he was crippled because of the advanced gunnery. So Akbar I think only had 4 health left, no shields. Right after this, Thrawn ends him, takes him out. But the problem is, when I did my maneuver, I slowed down to speed 1.
Okay.
and I just went straight. And by doing that, it allowed him to get an angle into the side arc of my kuat. So advanced gunnery for first player, you can shoot at the same ship at the same side, but it has to be at different hull zones.
Right.
If I would have done just a one-click turn to the right on the screen you're seeing here, he would have had no angle on my side arc, and he could have only taken one shot at my kuat and then probably a second shot at Thrawn. Because he was able to do a double Akbar shot into my kuat evaporated and was destroyed. And I was like, oh man, I'm really. And it was so frustrating because the first shot I took was pretty bad, but I was able to tank it pretty well.
Okay, good.
And the thing is, if I would have made that turn, or he didn't have the shot on the side, Thrawn then kills him on my activation.
Yep.
So then his space potato and his CR90 won't get Akbar for their shots.
Exactly.
So those two won't kill the kuat. So I don't think I would have lost the kuat if I would have. And the thing is, I rushed the move. It happened several times. I made so many mistakes this tournament that I just stupid mistakes. A lot of them had to do with me rushing moves and not taking my time to actually look at where the angle is going to be. And I rushed this move. And if I would have just taken just another 5 seconds to look at it, I would have realized, I'm just going to do an extra click to the right just to be safe so that he can't get an angle on another hull zone with his Akbar advanced gunnery ship. The nice thing was, though, since both of these ships were the advanced gunnery ships, they're both double points, it was almost an even trade.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Akbar was a little bit more expensive because that's his command ship.
Right, that's standard and all that.
Yeah. So basically, right after this happens, my kuat evaporates. See what the next. Yeah. So the next picture. This is about a round and a half later. Yeah, Thrawn killed Akbar. By this point, I think I had wiped out Shara and Tycho by this point.
Yeah.
Maybe Shara is still alive. I know I'd taken Tycho out. It looks like Shara is still alive.
There's somebody in there in front of your.
And I was trying so hard to turn enough, but because this is the thing, because I didn't kill, because Akbar killed my kuat.
Right.
It meant that there's he rammed him then instead. It was one of those weird things that I'm trying to remember the specifics of it. Because of the interaction with Akbar and the kuat, it made that I couldn't make as hard of a turn as I could have with Thrawn to turn into his remaining fleet, so I had to do a wide turn to start turning around. I think it was because I had to do one maneuver just to make sure I stayed online with Akbar to make sure I finished him off. If the kuat wouldn't have died, then I could have done with the kuat the next round, but I can't, it's kind of, I was trying to remember all these details a week later.
Later, after so many
But I just couldn't get an angle. Like, I have his potato long ranger, but he's first player. I think it's the start of round 5. So he just activates, takes a pot shot at, he says, actually does flak and doesn't even bother shooting Thrawn. Thrawn's not in danger in this game. Flies away, nothing else dies, and it ends in a 7-4 victory for myself.
Well, that's a good victory, though.
Yeah, it was one of those where it was very frustrating, though, because I knew I had, and then the last picture you'll see coming up, basically it's the end of round 6. I'm trying to chase, but I'm not first player. I'm not catching them. I couldn't turn hard enough. And so that was just the end of the game. And it was just very frustrating because if I would have remembered to take my time on that kuat speed 1 move, give a click, it would have been a much bigger victory. Because 134 point, he actually got more than that. He because it's doubled. So 134 plus 112 is the base. So 246, I think, is what he got for my kuat being destroyed.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it was my advanced gunnery ship. If this stays the same, I didn't kill anything else.
Right.
But I don't lose my kuat, that skyrockets me, I think, into a 10-1 victory because Akbar is doubled.
Yep.
So, because we basically had a quote-unquote even trade, it made it just a barely victory. I could have had a 10-1 victory because of the doubling of Akbar if, by just one click, if I would just, and it was because I rushed it. I rushed the move. I mean, that was just a blunder, stupid mistake that didn't need to be made, and fortunately it didn't cost me in this game.
No.
It will cost me in the next game, as you guys will see. So that was my first game with Evan, a very pleasant guy, really nice guy to play with, and his friend was there, named Paul R. It goes by Docta, and you guys have seen him, he actually has a YouTube channel. And he was my second match, and I believe he's from Detroit, if I remember that correctly. So let me go ahead and get to the next folder and talk about the next match.
I don't know, he's a good sportsman.
Yeah, and we were both so nervous. I mean, we were both like putting down the measuring tool and shaking, and then trying to move the squash. doing the maneuver toll shit. We were both just so nervous. I can't remember if that was his first tournament ever too, but I mean we were just so nervous, and we were both being kind of a little lenient with each other, like because with like the
the nerves.
the nerves were just kind of taking over a little bit at the start.
So your second game was against Paul.
Yep.
And
goes by Tater on Discord, just so you guys know.
And he has a separatist list, which is a TF 1726.
Now this was common. I think we had 3 Akbar lists, and I think we had 3 separatist lists with the TF commander. The TF commander was very strong and very well represented in this tournament.
Yeah. And so he's got a Xiaomei, he's got Ordnance with rocket troopers, assault proton torpedoes.
You know, this thing, swivel mounts. Yeah, this thing is a gun.
Yeah.
And
that is definitely a gun.
Yeah.
And then he's got the hard cells with tickles and protection experts and plus repairs. And then he's got a Magnificent with again Waktan Bar, rocket troopers with turbo lasers, and Tater Prug. Wow.
Yeah.
And then he got one more. He's got 4 guns labor, hard cell, rocket troopers and turbo lasers again, and then he's got 4 vulture droids. Yeah. I'm surprised there's only 4 vulture droids.
Well, they're not there to do anything except just get in the way of enemy squads. Right. I mean, his main list here is just using his 3 main ships, the Recusant, the Munificent, and the Battle Refit, as guns, putting raids on and getting extra by dice. And just vulture droids are just mainly just to hold down enemy squads.
Yeah, lock them down.
Lock them down long enough for him to wipe you up with his ships.
Right.
So this game. This is where you have 3 games in a row where my opponents pick Asteroid Tactics. I think that was the majority that they picked was Asteroid Tactics. So the first picture you should see here, this is also immediately after deployment. Now one thing I will say here at the beginning, I played Asteroid Tactics terribly here. Horrible placement of the Exogorths, and I could tell it was just one of those, I don't think I practiced enough with that mission to be, because I got better with using it as the day went on.
Because we played that so many times.
Yeah, but it just was one of those where we weren't playing the right kind of matches or setups. Because when I played this one terribly, this game was a terrible game as far as my play. And also I was still nervous, but I was also being very deliberate and had very strategic with my Thrawn dials, my ship dials, and what I was going to be doing with Vonto, because I knew that I was going to have raids up my butt.
Yes.
From this list, and I did. So as after deployment, just one thing to keep note, the key thing, all of his ships except the Rexant are like slow rolling at 1 and 2. Patriots Fist is at 3. He's playing a hard burn into me here. Okay. And I also am going pretty quick. I think I'm speed 2 with both my Star Destroyers. And that was a mistake. There we go. Alright. So next picture, this is at the end of round 2, I believe. Yes, you can see we're both moving very fast. His Recusant moving fast, his other ship's kind of slow rolling. I set up to speed 3 with Thrawn. I'm trying to do a flanking maneuver, as you can see at the top of the screen. My Kuat's going 2, just a little turning in. And I'm being a little bit too careful with my fighters here. I shouldn't have been as afraid of his vultures as I was. I mean, vultures, because once we did engage, I just deleted his vultures like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I waited too long. I was being too cagey. I was too scared of them. And then you notice the Exogorths where I placed them. There's one Exogorth that's right next to the Kuat. I placed it there because I was anticipating him maybe sending vultures in to try to engage me, or maybe hard cells running over them. But what happened was I did more attacks, even though technically I did that wrong. You're supposed to have your opponent attack your fighters against my own squads. I mean, my squads died because of Exogorths. Because
you ran into Exogorth?
All the time with my squads. Because I placed Exogorths, I thought I was placing them in the path of my opponent's ships or my opponent's squads. But then I would end up moving my squads to go engage his. It was a complete strategic breakdown, absolute catastrophe. And this is where he puts a massive shot right here from the Patriots Fist into the Kuat. Kuat already has, I think, 1 raid, maybe 2, a second. I can't remember if he had gotten a second one yet, but and it was just a hammering shot. And he got an accuracy against Palpatine. So he could lock down the brace.
It looks like he's at medium range right here.
I think it was long, but it doesn't matter because Patriots Fist, he gets 4. He got 4 red, 2 blue, and 1 black from swivels, 1 black from at least 1 raid, and then another black from concentrate fire. And APTs went off and all that stuff. It was just ridiculous.
Wow.
And let me go to the next picture here because I'm trying to remember when it happened. Okay, so this is when we get really into the mess of things.
Well, you still get gold here, sir.
And we also have all our ships. No one's died yet. I think I've killed one vulture at this point, and that's the only thing that's died.
Yeah, I can't tell that.
Now, so you can tell we're in the mess, and at this point, I think this is when it happens. He goes with, I think, his Munificent first, because he had a double arc on Thrawn.
Yeah, I see that.
Really good shot on Thrawn, and because I'd already taken a couple hits before that. Both my ships were being hammered.
Okay.
So it goes internal, and I had the option on the second attack, because first attack it goes internal, he gets a crit, I contain, face down.
Right.
Second shot he gets, it goes internal. I wasn't able to redirect enough. There's a crit, and I choose not to contain.
Oh.
Because I was like, man, I don't want to give up my contain yet.
Right.
I'm like, I can take a crit. I'd only taken, I think, maybe 2 damage internal. I was just taking 1 this time. It was just going to be a crit. And just to give you some context, this is what cost me the game. This choice I did not spend this burning with the contain.
Okay.
I had 3 raid tokens on Thrawn, various sorts, but I also had 3 command tokens on Thrawn that I was staging everything prepared just to do a massive turn with Thrawn's turn. With Thrawn down, what I had planned on the Chimera itself, I was going to be able to clear a bunch of raids, looking in both my dials, and just do a massive squad plus gunnery team double hit on the Munificent in his hard cell.
Okay.
The crit I draw. Now this would have happened if I would have just burned the contain.
Oh no.
But the crit I draw was the worst one I could have possibly drawn. And I think it's called targeting disruption. It might be something else. But what it is that I have to discard all my command tokens.
Oh.
So my entire ability that I had been staging up for 3 rounds to get rid of raids, gone. And while that crits up, I cannot have command tokens. So I can't even use Vance to give me a command token to help me.
I think you gave me that once, by the way.
And this was devastating. I had a perfect plan set up to be able to basically just do a big 1-2, drop 2 ships in 1 turn, and Thrawn would be healthy, good to go. That one crit, because I chose not to burn my contain, just destroyed my entire game plan. And the Thrawn dial that was revealed was an engineering. I couldn't use it now because I had an engineering raid.
Oh.
So I couldn't even heal that crit.
No. Yeah, basically discard to get rid of the raid.
And my Thrawn dial was a squadron dial, activate squads, and I had a squad raid.
Yeah.
So I couldn't use it. Was just
discarding. Yeah.
It was. So what I ended up doing was discarding that to get rid of all my, and then using my engineering to heal my crit. But by then it's too late. Like no squads activated.
Nope.
Okay. And
no healing.
No healing. Well, I was able to heal a damage card.
Oh, you were?
But again, it's too little, too late.
Right.
And so it basically my entire plan went out the window. I was able to delete the hard cell right in front of me. I mean, it's just a hard cell in front of the Star Destroyer. Great.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to do what my plan was to send my squads into the Munificent to weaken it, to then be hit by the gunnery team shot from the Chimera once I cleared out the hard cell. And that basically meant the Munificent was alive for the next turn. And
before we go to the next turn, so question: in a tactical error like this, how do you recover from that?
Well, in this case, I didn't. It completely trashed the entire. I don't even know what I could have done. I was very frustrated. It affected the rest of my gameplay.
Okay.
I couldn't stop thinking about how stupid I was, and I'm about to make another big blunder too. That affected me into the next game. But it was, So the Munificent basically doesn't get one-shotted, and I could have one-shotted it. Alright, so here's the next picture. Now, a lot has happened here.
Oh, yeah.
So the next round, I am able to kill his other hard cell with the Kuat, and one-shot the Munificent with my Chimera. So he's lost 3 ships, and I think maybe only 1 squad left or 2 or whatever. But eventually I get all his squads. Yeah. But Thrawn at this point, right before this happened, had to take the hit first for the Munificent. So now Thrawn is down to 3 health remaining, no shields, after he takes those shots.
Wow. I
then shoot back at his Munificent and kill the Munificent with a squad dial. I was able to get some good squad shots off.
Okay.
Munificent's dead. I now need to move Thrawn. And you can't see it in this picture, but off to the right, on the bottom right, or basically the middle right of the picture, there is a debris field with an X-Force sticking out of it.
Yep, yeah, I can see it.
No, that's the middle. I'm talking about off to the right.
Oh, okay.
That you can't see it on the screen. It's off screen. And again, this was me rushing the move. I didn't take my time. I was just like, you know what? Patriot's Fist is out of arc of Thrawn now. I'm just going to run away with Thrawn. He's going to live on health. Going to be good to go. I just do a little maneuver to like turn him out, and turn him away, and put it down, lock it in without even looking at the board.
Whoa.
What happened was then I moved, locked it, and as I picked it up, I was like, oh,
You just did it.
screwed up. And I landed on the debris field and the Exegor.
Oh.
That's 3 damage. You can take it on shields, but I had no shields.
No shit, yeah.
And I had 3 health left. So I killed myself.
Oh.
193 points that I just gave
Oh.
to Paul.
Wow.
Because I was flustered from not doing the contain and
Right.
just having everything and getting that crit.
Yep.
I was not thinking right. I was just mad at myself. And I rushed the move. If I would have taken my time, I could have done it was speed 3 move. I could have just done a little side shuffle.
Yep.
And landed on the Exegorth only, just taking 1 face down. And he had no arc or no range to even shoot at me, and I could have run away with Thrawn the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But because I rushed it, because it was this combination of not burning the crit, taking that crit that just completely devastated my entire plan, and it frustrated me, flustered me, and I wasn't able to recover, and I rushed my move, and I ended up killing Thrawn. And that pretty much ended in the game, because now the Kuat can't get away. And I was actually prepared to lose the Kuat. Like, that's 135 points, that's fine, that's an even trade. It might be a 6-5 victory, actually, because I've killed all 3 of his ships, other than the Recucent. But Thrawn's now dead. He then easily is able, and I'm about to say this, Paul was doing masterful maneuvering with the Recucent. He was able to always get me in a double arc in case he wanted it. He was always able to stay out of the Kuat's front arc. I never got a single good shot on this Recucent ever.
Wow.
Masterful maneuvering by Paul in this game, and he was able to then take out the Kuat, basically, and he did table. It was a table, but because I had killed 3 of his ships, it wasn't a 110. I still lost 8-3-8, so I was able to recover some points because of the point differential. I think I barely made it into a 3-8 instead of a 9-2 loss. But that's one that was just. So it was so frustrating where errors can just compound if you can't recover from them, and it was not worth saving contain token to have my entire game plan ruined, taking that risk. I should have just burned the contain, and it would have been a completely different game. So.
What did you know was going to happen?
It doesn't matter. I should have known that card was in the damage deck. That could have possibly come up.
No, it's plenty.
Right, but I know that there's a card in there that my entire game plan at that point was I have to have these command tokens, and I have to have Vance after I clear them to help me even more.
Okay.
I should not have taken that risk. I was taking the risk that the crit I'm going to get isn't going to hurt me that bad, and I got the one that was devastating. And I shouldn't have taken that risk for one defense token. Who cares? Who cares about a contain? Okay, so I'm not sure where we left off, but
I think it definitely contained.
Yeah, so it was definitely worthwhile. The burning contain would have saved my entire game.
Oh yeah.
And it actually, moving forward through the tournament, I was not frivolous at all with my defense tokens anymore. I'm not risking crits anymore because of what happened there. So it was not worth the risk. I should not have risked it. Especially because my game plan was so heavily reliant on what I had already pre-staged and set up on the Chimera.
Yeah.
And knowing that there is a card, granted, who knows I don't know what the odds are to pull it, but the odds aren't 0. I shouldn't have risked that. So that was a huge mistake that I made, and that's one that I couldn't recover from at all. So that was the second game, took a 3-8 loss. It was a great game against Paul. And
so now after that game, where you're like, oh. Because I know that you messaged me after that one. You were not too thrilled. And, it was a great game. You said he had a great game against Paul. He had a good game, so Paul's great. But how do you get ready for how do you prepare yourself for the following game without being like, keep thinking about the previous game with Paul?
Just got to clear your head. Fortunately, there's time between matches, and
how much time did you have?
I can't remember on that one. I can remember how fast we finished. Normal time between matches is only 15 minutes, but it just depends on how. I can't remember how fast we finished. But I mean, obviously I had time to clean up. I had to put, stack my trays, and then wait for a new assignment, so a new table. Yeah. And it was just one of those where I just had to try to shake it off. And I really can't say what I did. I can't remember what I did to try to shake it off to move into the next game. But it was I was definitely not happy with myself at all after that one. So my third game was against Rob We Trust.
Rob We Trust, yes.
And for those that don't know, he's the one that actually is putting out those Armada Max, the one that we play with.
Yeah.
As the Coruscant on it, and he's planning on doing a Kickstarter. He messaged me today.
Oh, good.
Or actually, by the time you guys watched this yesterday, Friday. If he said that he's going to try to get it posted on Friday, so it'll be today that you guys are watching. If it has posted, I'll make sure that the link is in the description below for the Kickstarter, so you guys can check out his fundraising to do a new run of Max. So just keep that in mind. So
what did you say? What kind of Max or budget?
No, I have no idea. We'll just have to see.
Did you have to mention that was Garrett for a week ago?
I've told him several times. That's what I want. So I hope there's a Scarif one on the Kickstarter, because then I'll be back for sure for that one.
In Rob We Trust.
Yep, in Rob We Trust.
Another Separatist list.
Separatist, but this one's different. I think we had 4 Separatist lists there. 3 of them were doing the TF Commander. This is the only one that was different. Trench. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This was squad heavy. The only actual true squad focused one in the tournament. Maxed out squads, 1, 3, 4. I think it was I can tell you right now, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 squads. Yep. Squads, Vulture Swarm, with hyenas and named. It was just lots of squads.
Hyenas is just word.
Yep, and his command ship was represented again in Patriot's Fist, but also a command ship for squads. So it's like a dual role, and I like that. I like dual role command ships like that. So this one, let's see what our first picture is going to be. Again, I tried to get setup pictures, so this should be set up. Yeah, this is set up. And Asteroid Tactics again, second player. And again, just trying to be a little bit more cagey. And as you can see where the asteroids are near his lines out. The Exegor's did a lot of work for me. I learned a lot of the mistakes I made on my previous game. And I was able to use the Exegors to do a lot of work on his vultures. And so after setup, and after the first few turns, so this, I believe, is the end of round 2, start of round 3, maybe, around here. You can see he has that massive squad ball hovering around an asteroid. Mm-hmm. And this is where, and he mentioned this, that he was like, oh man, I made a mistake here, because he didn't realize, and I looked up to make sure, when you place an Exegor, the only rules for placing Exegors is that they cannot overlap ships, they cannot overlap obstacles, they cannot overlap objective tokens. They can't overlap squads. So he placed all his squads all around these asteroids, so then I placed the Exegors just right on top of them.
Yep.
And the Exegors did a lot of work.
It's like you had about 2 asteroids, so you can get at least 2 Exegors easily.
Yeah, there's only 2 Exegors. So
yeah, but on either side, I'm trying to see where they were. But
yeah, multiple squads were set up to where they're going to be hitting by 2 Exegors, and with vultures and hyenas, they only have 3 and 4 health.
Yep.
Now this one, I made the mistake. It didn't cost me the game, fortunately. We'll get to that, but I made the mistake that I didn't engage my squads as fast as I should have. I was trying to hold back Merrick and Jendon and Jonas to try to use them for anti-ship abilities.
Right.
But that was a mistake. What I should have done was basically on this round. I think this might have actually been round 2. I think I came in at him hard and fast because I wanted to drop his hard cells quickly because they're squad support. Was that I held my squads back, which allowed him to be able to do squad activations and send his bombers into Thrawn. So he was able to work on me right away when I could have actually just flown my squads into his mix and we just had a big squad ball fight, which would have delayed completely his ability to bomb me. Then I can kill his hard cells.
Not just delayed, I would have killed him.
Yep, I would have lost my squads actually too. It would have been
killed his squad.
But I would have killed his squad as well because he has no escort, so I could have just focused on his bombers, drop his bombers, but I held them back. And that was a mistake, is holding them back. I should have just engaged right away. Next picture here. So this is
less separatist.
yes.
squads
So
out there.
I forget which round this was. I think this might have been the end of start of round 4 after the end of round 3. And the Exegor, this is when I finally sent my squads in, but by this point it was too late. Thrawn had already taken a beating just from bombers, and his hyena bombers were rolling pretty hot. For the most part, they were rolling hot with red dice, but he also had bomber commands. You get rerolls, and I finally decided to go in and engage him. And when I did, it worked. I mean, I cleared out a ton of his squads combined with the because then I would lock him down, and like I'm okay with the Exegors attacking me with 6 health and 5 health, while they're also attacking him with 3 health and only 4. And cleared out a lot of his vultures and his generic hyenas just from Exegorth attacks combined with my squads. Right after this happens, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, one of his hard cells does go down hard. The other hard cell, surprisingly, you can see that one right in front of the Kuats. He's first player. He goes with that first and is able to jump and escape. So I'm not able actually to drop that hard cell.
Really?
Yeah, because he's first player.
Right.
And then my shot into his Rexon was pretty lame. That was a very mediocre shot. I don't even think I had an APT off with leading shots rerolls. So I was very disappointed in that I didn't get a good shot to his Rexon. He's using Trench masterfully. Trench is like a Thrawn light. Takes a bit more setup, but he was basically just using Trench for squad commands. He's basically activating every squad, all of his squads every turn, across his entire fleet. Yeah, so this is after I killed his first hard cell. You can see how his second one there on the left had escaped. His Rexon is also starting to pull away and run, and I'm actually starting to try to turn now with Palpatine to chase, while keeping Thrawn back and alive. But Thrawn is trailing out again. Thrawn is again back to no shields. I think maybe 2 or 3 health remaining. Those 2 squads you see in front of him are hyena bombers. One's a named one, the back toy. The other's from Garrett. So I'm also trying to stay fast so I don't run over him, so he can't attack me in the squad phase. I mean, this was coming down to the wire as far as, and then the squads behind, I couldn't bring my squads to help because we're still locked in a squad fight with some remaining vultures. I think he had the DTS Tri-Fighter and Grievous still alive, locking my squads down. Let's see, next picture here. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, so this is, again, this is, I think, round 5. So this is where some things happened that, where Rob took a risk. Like, I'm currently running hard at speed 3, trying to turn, and then trying to run him down with Palpatine. Then trying to just keep Thrawn and just send him to the corner and keep him alive. At this point, though, then Rob Retrust decides to turn his Rexon back into my ships because he wants to kill Thrawn. Because he knows Thrawn only has like 2 health left. He's like, I gotta get these 190 some odd points.
But he's going to be going for Palpatine.
Exactly. So, and he mentioned that he maybe probably shouldn't have done that at the end of the game.
Yeah. No.
But it was also, the Rexon wasn't that bad because the first shot I got him wasn't that hard of a hit.
How bad was the quad?
Quad was pretty much full health. I mean, he did some pot shots into him. He was focusing on Thrawn, trying to drop Thrawn, because that was where my points are. Right. So this picture, you'll notice right behind the Kuat, and you'll notice Thrawn's gone. There's this little squad there, and that is a hyena bomber that he was able to barely reach with his Rexon. So you see where the maneuver tool is right now?
Yep.
That's an E measuring. No, I'm sorry, that's not me. That's Rob measuring his hard cells movement. But this is the Rexon was on basically where his hands are now. Was barely in range to activate the hyena bomber, and how he was able to do it is because he was able to use TKs, give himself a squad token. This is round 6, actually, last round. Sent his hyena bomber over, and just his 2 hyena bombers that he had next to Thrawn whiffed in the squad phase, blanks on reds. Round 6 was able to squad command token with TKs, get docked for free, barely in range to reach out with boosted comms, grab his hyena bomber, send it over to Thrawn, and he got 3 damage, exactly enough. I still had my brace with Thrawn, but I only had 2 damage left, so he got 3 damage brace, so I'm still dead. But by doing that, getting in range with his guy to reach him, he now has to try to get out of range of the Kuat. So you can see at the top of his arm there where the Rexon ended up. I mean, he spent a lot of time trying to figure out this move. Because I think he also had a nav, so he had got extra clicks, slow down, speed up. And it was an important move. It was a huge a lot of times, most part, for most of the game, you want to not take forever on your moves.
Right.
You don't want to slow the game down. But on moves like this is one where you take your time. It took like 5 minutes. He was basically trying to get out of the front arc, so I can't double arc him with the quad. There's no way he could have done it. I don't think. There might have been one move that he turned away from to not do it. It was so close. And but I did end up having him in a double arc, so I was able basically. And again, the Requisite at this point, I think he'd also healed. So when the Requisite's sitting there, it's full health, no damage cards, full shields. But my quad is in close range with front and side arc. I was able to double arc one shot him, and was able to drop. Because at this point he's winning, because he dropped Chimera. All he's lost is some vultures and a hard cell. But I was able to stay in a double arc, got the one shot of the double arc, killing the Requisite straight out. And then this is the end. All that's left is just the Kuat, hard cell, and that's the next picture coming up. And then there's some squads just scattered about. I was back on the asteroid just fighting each other. So, and this came out to a 7-4, very, very close game.
Yeah, it looks like it.
For myself, I was much more happy with the way I played this game. My main mistake in this one was the squad play not engaging earlier. If I would have engaged earlier, I don't think Ron would have ever even been in danger, because he would never have been able to even throw his 4 Hyena Bombers into Thrawn for a full turn with uncontested.
Because you probably could have thrown by one of the X-Doors, when they were thrown by X-Doors.
Yeah.
And you would have been out of range.
And just lock them down so they're getting. And that's what I should have done. I played too cagey this game.
Mm-hmm.
I should have, because my plan was, going into this tournament, if I face a squad storm like this, just to use my squads to lock them down. But I didn't do it. I was like, I want to keep my squads. I want to keep Merrick and Jonas for bombing runs and getting accuracies. Yep. I never even got to do that, because by the time his squad's engaged, like, well, now I have to bring them in. Thrawn can't take another 4 Hyena Bombers to the face. Mm-hmm. So that was my main mistake, because I could have engaged him on round 2 and locked him down, and he never would have gotten a Hyena shots on me. But fortunately, that mistake didn't cost me.
Good.
It's one of those where it's like, I don't know if it was the right decision for him to turn to try to go after Thrawn to get in range of his squad, because he did end up killing Thrawn, but it meant, though, then I was able to get the Requisite. The Requisite was in him, then just put right in front of the Kuat. And so it's just one of those where if he doesn't do that move and he just tries to run away, I don't kill him.
Right.
But then we just go to points, and it's going to be really close. And
points
so,
figure out there.
Yeah, so it's one of those, sometimes you just have to take risks. And he was hoping that once he did that, he was going to be able to jump the Kuat and just be in one arc.
Yeah.
But just the angles and stuff,
it didn't work out.
And because the Requisite is a large base, it's so hard to evade arcs with a large base. So. But it was a fantastic game, Rob. That was the only game that came down to time. We played a full 2 hours, 15 minutes. It was a very tight game, very close game, very challenging game, and very close game. So it was a very fun, really good game.
Good.
Yeah. And so this is when I played Mood Swing, my last game. This is a Curse Gate Profundity drop.
Oh boy, here we go.
And I believe JD is his actual name. If I'm not getting them confused. And man, I tell you what, when everybody was feeling exhausted.
And now this was round 3?
4. This is our 4th game.
Same game. It was the last round of the day.
Last round of the day. We've already been playing for I think 8 hours.
Good.
And so this one was a very dangerous one.
Yeah, I mean, you
MC-75 Ordnance with Kirsta.
Lelix.
Yeah, and then but inside Profundity, he's got a Hammerhead with Cham Syndulla. And Cham Syndulla is one you can choose a ship, and then you get to pick all of their dials. Mm-hmm. He also has a GR-75 with Slicer Tools, which allows you to change the top dial of your opponent. Now this one was a very interesting one. When I found out what he had with Cham and with Slicer Tools, I decided, I'm going to slow roll this, and I'm going to be very cagey with my dials and planning. Right. So you guys can see the screen coming up here on deployment. The GR-75 on the far left there, I think is the Slicer Tools one, because he's trying to bait me. Because this one, he's first player, Asteroid Tactics again. I started with the Kuat in the middle, and I was able to actually have enough activations to see where he might, when we were doing squads back and forth, I think with the GR-75, the second one on the right side where it was, so I just committed to Thrawn there. And that's where then he decided to commit the MC-75 and his CR-90, basically try to come in and do a drop right on top of Thrawn. But just as far as base strategy here, which is why I love Thrawn. the threat of Cham and slicer tools is just devastating to anybody else, maybe Trench excluded. But with Thrawn, and an easy way to play Thrawn is just think, for 3 rounds, what do I want no matter what happens?
Right.
Those are going to be the dials. And that's what I picked. I was like, I'm going to get sliced and I'm going to get chammed.
Yep.
I'm not going to even care about what, I'm just going to set basic dials on my ships and just pick 3 dials on Thrawn's card, what I must have at 3 critical points in the game. And that actually saved me. So he's coming in, he actually comes pretty hot. I chose slow roll this one, we're both at speed. I'm at speed 1 with my ships. He's coming in hot with his entire fleet. And so next picture coming up, you can see that Thrawn is still slow rolling at 1. Palpatine I've sped up to 2 at this point to start turning in, basically just to bracket his big ship coming in. I'm just ignoring everything else. My goal is just to try to get 2 ISDs facing down this MC-75 to drop him when he comes in hard. And not much to say on this picture. Again, I shifted my squads over because his squad presence is very deadly. He has lots of A-Wings, he's got Tycho Shara, he's got Rogue Squad, he's got Lando. It's just, this one I'm just like, I don't think it's going to come in to start doing bombing runs, but I want to make sure I'm going to need Merrick and Jonas. My squad, you see that's a little bit farther forward, that Zyrtec, I'm basically putting him there as a stopgap in case he comes to engage. And then the next round, I actually do send Zyrtec out just to lock him down and just be a sacrificial lamb to free up Jendin, Merrick, and Jonas. Next picture. So this is right before the drop. This is right. So this is the end of the round.
Yeah, you sit at the hammerhead on the side.
Yeah. So this is either the end of the round that before he drops, or the start of the round where he does drop. He drops here. But as you can see, I was able to set up my maneuvering with my destroyers, where basically I trapped his MC-75 where he had nowhere to go. And he just flew right into the front of them. And at this point, he had sliced. So it's just so you know what I did for Palpatine. All I did was play nabs.
Yep,
Didn't care. I know I'm going to slice, probably get chammed. I just play nabs the whole game. And because it's like if he changes away from that, if he puts it on a confire, great. If he puts it on a squad, great. I'll just use that to do my squad. Engineering, even better. Keeps it on nav, that's great too. So it's one of those I just don't care.
It works.
On Thrawn, I believe, because I think I did squad command, if I remember correctly, I think I did 2 squad commands and 1 engineering command for my Thrawn dials. And then for Thrawn, I did mainly navs as well. I think I planned 1 squadron just in case I might get it off before a slicer tool comes in. But everything else was just navs as well on Thrawn. Just generic, and then if he changes them away, that's great. So, and also that helps with Vanto, with his ability to give me a token I might need for gunnery teams. The nice thing about my build that I like about this build is the versatility and its ability to counteract and cancel dial manipulation of fleets. And Champs and Duel, that kind of thing. So as you guys can see here, so he does drop, let's see if I can't remember, do I have a picture where he drops? Yeah, so this is now beginning of the round where he dropped. And he dropped a double arc into the Kuat, and the first ship he activated was the Hammerhead, which of course he has to do that, otherwise Hammerhead's dead. Squad command, he chammed Palpatine, looked at all my dials, and he's like, oh wow, they're all just naps. It's like, that's what I was going to do anyway. But it's one of those, there was no way, basically he faced like a perfect counter to his list. Because with Thrawn, if someone has Cham across from me, I don't care. I just play generic nav, I put what I want for my 3 turns on the Thrawn dials because he can't touch them, and that's just sometimes you get a hard counter. So he saw the Kuat dials, saw there just all navs. He's like, well, I'm just going to keep them as navs. I don't want to give you engineering or squad or
concentrate fire.
Actually, no, that's right. He actually put them on squads. I get it back. He switched them all to squads, but again, that was fine.
That was great for you.
That was great for me. I just then would just delay my Thrawn dials and just let my Kuat do my squad commands. And but he did his double arc shot, pretty decent shot. And then but what he also did is he put Cursed on the Hammerhead with profundity ability, swapping his commander because he knew that the MC-75 was dead. This is actually a good thing that he did. I'll get to that later. So his champ or Cursed now on the Hammerhead then runs away, starts running because it did its thing. And at this point, I just put some massive hits into his MC-75. I think I hit him with a Kuat first.
So I'm surprised you haven't obliterated it right there.
Well, I mean, again, it's just timing of the shot. So this is after the MC-75 died. So the MC-75 then attacked the Chimera, because I did the Kuat first, I believe, and then I did like a swing around. And then he had the Chimera double arced. This is where ECM was key. He locked on my brace, so ECM used my brace. And then he didn't have the speed to be able to jump over out of the Chimera's range, so I was able to Chimera double arc him and kill the MC-75 with squad help. Because I think I did decide to reveal a squad anyway. It was just one of those. It didn't hurt me. Right. Because I also had nav commands going off, or nav fleet commands going off, take evasive action. So I was able to just maximum mitigation from his ability to manipulate my commands.
Good.
But you will see where his hammerhead's at. Right now you'd be like, oh, that's a great spot for me to blast him next turn, but remember, he's first player.
Right, so it's gone. It's gonna fly off.
It's gonna fly off. And he had a choice, because you see them were on the bottom right where his CR90 is. He had a choice. Which one does he want to let die? Cursed is on the hammerhead, right, so he wanted to keep Cursta alive. Right. So next round he chose to go with Cursta first, run away. I still able to get a shot off on him with Chimera, but and I was able to actually get it, I got a perfect roll. Was able to lock down everything, but with Cursta he was able to still cancel a die anyway. Yep. So it was key that he moved Cursta over to the hammerhead. Yeah. Otherwise the hammerhead would have died. CR90 of course just gets obliterated. I have a squad command on the Kuat, which is that he gave me, which that's why I staged Merrick over there, so that Merrick could help the Kuat take out the CR90, and it did. The CR90 just was one-shotted there. And then, let's see, alright, so final shot, just start turning the Kuat around. I had one shot, so you see right now the Chimera in the middle is facing to the left, it was facing forward. And this is the end of the game, but before this happened, I had a long-range shot into the back of the hammerhead. It had no shields left, except one on the back, 2 health remaining. I need to do 3 damage. Right. Okay? With 2 red dice. I hit him. And he has no defense tokens, by the way, because they have all been he's been burning them with Curse to keep it alive. Yeah. 2 damage. Survives on 1 health. I was so close to getting a tabling, which would have been a 10-1 victory, but because I didn't get the tabling, it ended up being an 8-3 because he had a lot of points on the board from squads. Yeah, because he has, like I said, Lando, Rogue Squad, Tycho, Shard, they're all still alive. Yeah. And he has a GR75 still alive up there, so I wasn't able to get the clean sweep. And he made the right move. He put Cursta on the hammerhead. That's a great idea. Ran away. Yeah. And if Cursta wasn't on there, I'd definitely kill the hammerhead because there was one key shot where I would have killed it with my accuracies I got and the damage, but because of Cursta, he was able. I think it was the evade. He was able to discard the evade. I mean, reroll 2 dice, which was a drastic reduction in damage that kept it alive. So that's an interesting thing that he actually said. I don't think we've ever done this before. We actually called Karnak over and be like, "Hey, this is legal, right?" There's another has ever done this before. Actually, moving the commander onto the profundity drop ship. Actually, I think it says it on there. You can, but we just want to make sure it's like, all right, this is actually key. Just want to make sure we're doing it right. Is it safe? And another thing he was concerned about was does the Cursta additional, when you have Cursta, you get additional defense token. Yeah. Do you lose that on the ship you originally had her on, or do you add it on to the? Do you add it on? So that's another thing we just want to make sure. That is something. I don't know. What's the ruling on that? So the ruling is when you do Cursta's first ability and fleet building, start of the game, and you add that defense token. That stays on the ship that she was originally on. Right. Even if she moves. Okay. And then even if you lose it, he also had Whalix. Right. So basically, once you put Curse on there and you get that defense token, that ship now has an additional defense token no matter what happens to Cursta. Right. Because he had also burned one of his braces earlier in the game. Right. And so he goes up to use Whalix to get that brace back, even though Cursta wasn't on the ship anymore. Because at the start of the game, that ship now had 5 defense tokens instead of 4. So we just want to get a ruling from Karnak, just make sure, is that how that works? The timing of it, etc. with Cursta jump ship, that kind of thing. But Cursta also, when she jump ship, didn't get to add a token. Right, she does not get to add the token to the hammerhead. Because that's start of the game that happens. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a key thing, too. So that's an instance where we called him over just to make sure, because we both didn't, I've never done anything like that before. No. And it was key, it saved him from getting a 10-1 loss, because having cursed on the hammerhead, I think it was too shy. I think I had a double arch, and he was able to discard tokens to keep the hammerhead alive, to get around my accuracies. So, but that was a really, also again, very tight game, very good game. It was a hard counter for his list. I mean,
right. But that's
so JD, I apologize, not apologize, but you could tell when you came in that you knew that you had faced a hard counter because Thrawn is so uniquely designed or uniquely capable of adapting to your opponent and anti-command abilities, and his ability to jam me and reset my dials. I didn't care because I had Thrawn. His ability to slice the tools me again, don't care because I have my 3 Thrawn battles, the ones I really want in this match. This is I just decided these are the ones I really want. Everything else, I don't care what happens to them.
But you do it every time.
Most of the time, yes.
Right. Yes.
But it's one of those in games like this. It really just doubles down to where I only am going to have 3 commands that I'm really going to be able to use. The other ones on my ships I don't care about.
Right.
And again, also the ability with Vanto, keep giving me the tokens to where even if he takes away my navs, I'm still getting maneuverability because of my fleet commands. It's just the flexibility of the Thrawn in my Chimera build was just a really good counter to this list. But if I didn't have Thrawn, I would have been in big trouble. So that was just one where sometimes that just happens. A hard counter just appears across the table. So, but yeah, so that was the end of day 1. And
so at the end of day 1, you get 25 tournament points.
Yes, 25.
25. And, so that was a pretty good amount, I would say. I mean, again, I'm not a big tournament player, but 25 is a decent amount.
It was decent, but it was barely enough. Barely enough.
It got you to 8th place, which, remember, you wanted to get in the top 16.
Yeah, that was my main goal, was to make the cut. So whatever the cut was, they changed the cut because of just the low number of players. And it was barely enough. So he started reading off the rankings.
Yeah.
And he got to 4th place with Aaron with 26 points. So I was like, all right, I think I'm going to make it. Then he did 5th place, 25 points. It was somebody else's name.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay, so maybe a couple of us tied. 6th place, 25 points, somebody else's name. It's like, oh my gosh, please don't tell me. 7th place, 25 points, calls out somebody else's name. I'm just like, I'm just sitting here like, please. Because it's already been such a stressful day. I was so mad at myself.
Just say my name.
And at that point, I'm just like, that it was the game against Paul that I was going back to thinking about, that I basically, thinking of those stupid mistakes that cost me the game. I'm just like, man, if that costs me the tournament, not being able to make, I was just like, I can't believe it. That was the match that bothered me the most throughout the entire weekend. But then he said 8th place, 25 points. Then I was like, oh my god. It was barely.
You owe him a drink now, Connor.
Yeah, and I think 9th place was 23 points. So all very close in that 26 to 23 range. Again, 4 of us tied at 25 points at the end of day 1. Very close play, very competitive play.
So how's it going on day 2 after the day 1 where you're like that one tactical area? You're like, oh my gosh.
So I was actually feeling pretty good. Start day 2, which is unfortunate based on how things went.
Because I know that you say that you didn't get much sleep.
No, but it was fine. I was actually feeling better. I made my goal to the cut. So it was basically, a lot of the pressure was off me.
Right.
I felt a lot less pressure. I felt a lot more comfortable in the games. I wasn't nervous at all. I think it might have been a bit of detriment because I was kind of playing a little fast and loose my first game especially. And my first game on day 2 was with Alan, also goes by Mercier, subscriber of the channel, and also a pretty big presence on the Armada Discords. Just so you guys know, he's also the tournament organizer for the Texas Open that's going to be playing tomorrow.
Yes.
And that Rob and I will be live streaming their live stream.
Yes.
To comment on their top table and go over the list. So just give that little plug there for the Texas Open. But we were really excited to play each other because we've seen each other in the comments, talking to each other in the comments, and I apologize, Alan. I didn't give you my best game. I played a complete hot garbage. So I made some bad mistakes on the game against Paul, day one, where I lost 3-8.
Yep.
This game was just a complete travesty from start to finish, and I just feel really bad about how the play I gave Alan, that I didn't give him my best, and he played a spot-on game, just exploiting my overall strategy was bad. I'll pull up a picture for you guys.
So now, just so everybody knows, he had the only Republic list.
Yeah, only Republic list. It's double event with double spots. He had Mercy Mission, Bail Organa, no squads, and he chose to be second player. This is the first time that I was going to be first player, so I had to pick one of his missions.
Do you remember?
Yep, I had to pick Station Assault, and I can't remember why I picked that one, but it was, I felt like, man, that could be I might be able to get some easy points by destroying his stations. And this is the end of deployment, and this is the start of the travesty. And you guys can probably already see it looking at the screen. So again, Kuwait goes out first, place my squads, and at the top right, that CR90 is what the Mercy Mission on. It's an empty CR90, nothing else on it except Mercy Mission. Give him 40 points if he gets to my deployment zone. And I thought, before I placed it on, you know what? I think I'm going to try something unique and different and outfield. I'm going to go chase the rabbit. I'm going to see if I can't go kill his Mercy Mission to not only deny him 40 points, but give me 20, and at the same time take out one of his stations that's worth 40 points.
Back down the rabbit hole he goes.
And this was just a complete, amateur hour. I can't believe I made. Just looking back at this picture, I cannot believe I made this decision to do this, especially because he had me, because I was first, he had me out deployed, so I should have just set up my Star Destroyers together and just faced off with his Venators and just go mano-a-mano with them, and I win that fight, because then ones can't take defensive retrofits. And I know through experience that I can one-shot a Venator with the Star Destroyer with squad support.
Yep.
So, never mind 2. But I basically left Palpatine out there by himself to face off 2 Ben 1s with the spot cannons.
Yep.
And it does not go well. It was just, and I didn't even, so let's say, all right, I'm going to go for this, chase the rabbit, try to kill his Mercy Mission. I didn't commit hard enough to it. I kind of did here, let me see if I can get a picture. So next picture, let's see where we're at. Alright, so this is after turn 1 movement, the start of round 4, or round 2 actually. You can see he's measuring over there. He's basically measuring, he's going with his Mercy Mission first, to try to get it out of the front arc. Now what I could have done, what I should have done, is that when I came in hard, I came at speed 3, I started at speed 3 with Thrawn, is angled toward the corner more, to trap him, but I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. I can't even tell you why.
I thought you couldn't get out of it.
Well, I knew I could. I have taken evasive action.
Right.
And nav commands queued up.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not doing squads over there, so he's just all nabbing, just max maneuverability. I should have just committed hard to the corner just to make sure he couldn't get out of it. Because he's able to get out of it. He's able to use a bail. He had a nav token. He was able to use a bail nav to get a dial. And just full swing out, stayed at long range. I can just barely blink shot at him. And then he's around my back. And there goes the Mercy Mission, and now Thrawn's over here,
facing the wrong direction.
Facing the wrong direction, not committing his firepower to anything except killing the station. 40 points, yay. Meanwhile, you guys can see here, Palpatine is about to just get murdered. You can see the tokens there, like the spots are set up, ready to go. And I'm going to have to move Palpatine first before he goes, because I'm first player. And let me see if I got a shot of where he's basically in the kill box. Yep. So this is after my movement, and I'm trying to turn again. So then again, everything was just a mistake after mistake after mistake. Palpatine was at speed 2. I should have started him at speed 1, or even just slowed him down to 1 after. Just to slow roll it. But I went speed 2, and he was going speed 3 with his Venators. He just charged me, and if you guys ever wondered, can 2 Venators with 1 spot shot each, and that's it, no double arc, can they drop a full health Kuat? The answer is yes. Because every shot he got, he had con fires, of course, and he got 1 accuracy on every shot to stop my brace.
Really?
so I could not brace down the damage. He rolled exceptionally well on both shots, got APTs on both shots, and Palpatine gets obliterated. Basically, not one-shotted, but one-shotted by 2 Vans.
Right.
One round of shooting, with only one shot each.
One round.
Only one shot each. He didn't have any double arc either.
Nope.
And it was one of those where I was hoping I was like, just survive on one wound, because I have reinforced blast doors. I'm first player, I can get out of the arc and just speed up to 3 and just run away. But nope, he got the actually every time, insane amount of damage every time. And I think he also has XI7s on these.
Oh.
So my redirects are worthless.
Right, yeah.
And he's going into my weak side. This was just a complete tactical blunder after tactical blunder throughout the entire game.
Now, in a way, what were you doing with Palpatine here? Were you trying to get one Venator in a double arc, it looks like, right here?
No, I'm trying to run.
You're trying to run, okay.
I realized what I had done, so I'm just trying to turn, survive the hit, and then just speed off to the left at speed 3 and do a hard left arc fish hook turn to get out of his spot range. And I would have been able to do it if I would have survived, but he just blasted me into oblivion. Yeah, this is one where some suggestions from like the Brace for Impact guys and others that I should have put, because I only have 2 ships and they're both expensive, I should have put electronic countermeasures on the kill instead of reinforced blast doors. That would require me taking a generic advanced instead of Zertic. And Zertic did do work, and his ability to use braces to stay alive helped. But actually throughout the entire tournament, it would have been far more useful for him to be able to brace with Palpatine, because Palpatine took a hammering a lot because they were able to lock down his brace, and I couldn't do nothing about it.
Right.
And my opponents got a lot of, I don't want to say lucky accuracies, it just happens.
No,
they were able to lock down the brace, and if I would have had electronic countermeasures on both of my ships, I think a lot of my matches go a different way, because the massive amounts of damage that came in on my ships, especially Palpatine, would have been drastically reduced if I would have had electronic countermeasures. But let's move on to the next picture, see where we're going here. Alright, so yeah, this is Kawat's dead, and he decides to start turning, and he's using nav. He's actually he's able to use navs and bail navs to start getting extra clicks to turn Venators like he would be turning a Star Destroyer. Venators have crap turning, but with navs they can turn better.
Yep. And you can do the spot on the side as well. So and me now, this is where I make it even again. At this point I think it's around 4 to 5. You can see I start turning back towards him. Yeah, on Ben.
I was starting to get really internal to myself, because I just realized in turn 1 I'm just like, man, I threw the game. Yeah. And I just couldn't recover. I got in my head, I hope I didn't have such a too sour look on my face, Alan, because I was just like so pissed off at myself, so mad at myself. And I started turning back, so I was like, you know what, maybe I can kill a Venator for the end of the game and to help recover.
Something, right?
And you can see the station's still alive. I'm rolling like hot garbage on the station.
What?
No defense tokens, can't. But I do eventually kill it, but who cares? But I should have just ran along the edge of the board and just taken whatever I've taken, just go for a minimal loss. Might have been like a 4-7 loss. Instead, I decided to turn back into his Venators, which he is.
And his mercy mission is
great. He has mercy mission, it's fine. He's like, great, you turned back into me. Then I changed my mind again. No, I'm going to turn away. This game was an exercise in what not to do in Armada. If it would have been films, I might put it on a special playlist on my channel on how not to play the game. And as you see, his spots are all lined up, ready to go. He gets starts blasting me. And then he was able to get a second shot on me and blast. This is actually a second. So this picture coming up real quick. I able to send my squads over just through squad activations, and barely had enough damage just doing squad attacks to kill his other station. So I did kill both stations.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, barely. And then I didn't get the last picture. But But then you guys saw that picture where Chimera's sitting there with his 2 Vans.
Yeah.
Same thing. I am able to electronic countermeasures to brace one, but electronic countermeasures only once, and then it was just. And I didn't have my dials set up properly. It was just it was complete dumpster fire of a game as far as my strategic play, tactical play, and Yeah, and it sucked because we were both so looking forward to playing each other.
Right, yeah.
And I apologize, Alan, for giving you such a bad game, but congrats on it. Was a great 10-1 win.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic win for him. And yeah, and after that, I then went to lunch and had a drink. This was lunch break, so I just went right to the bar. And our game was over actually pretty quick, and so I just went to the bar, had some lunch, had a drink. I was like, I just gotta calm down.
Yeah.
And so the next match, round 2, was against a familiar face, Aaron. We were both kind of disappointed. We didn't want to play each other because we wanted to play new people, you know.
Yeah.
But just the way the points went out, we were faced off against each other. I hate his list. I can't seem to beat it. We're just going right into it. You guys know his list. It's the double pickle.
Yep.
And I decided, you know, I'm like, and he had also lost a 110 loss. But his loss was an ultra close game, a good game. He was sort of telling about it. He was playing against the guy who ended up winning the entire tournament, Matt.
Oh.
And he said that it was like, he said it was one of the best games he's ever played.
Cool.
But it was down to the wire. But then when it came down to the wire, the way the loss happened, he had a 110 loss. But if it would have gone like maybe 1 or 2 dice rolls the other way, he might have gotten like maybe an 8-3 victory or something.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I can, Aaron, give you a recap on that at some point. But we both hit. We're just coming off 110 losses, so we're at the bottom. So of course you're matched up against you because no one else had a 110 loss on the second day. And so I decided, I just have to go all out. Just to give you a reminder of his missions. Yes, Solar Corona, I can't do that with an Akbar list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could, but I'm like, I have to score points. I can't just have to deploy on the opposite corner of the table and,
I think he did
run away from me.
He did a practice with you, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but that he deployed differently. But anyway, it was just one of those. I'm thinking I have to go for it. I have to be able to get. I have to just go for it to be able to recover from this 110 loss I just did.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do the contested outpost. That's just giving me 120 points.
Right.
Or at least 100. Not doing that. So the other one, Vance Gunner. Takes me to be first player, and I'm like, well, let's see if I can do this on the other end. Kind of like my game with Evan the first day. I want to do advanced gunnering.
No.
Put it on my Kuat. He put it on his Defiance that does not have Akbar. That's the one on the right side of the screen you're seeing there. My Kuat's on the right side of the screen as well. And he actually was really upset with himself in deployment. He had misdeployed badly.
How do you misdeploy?
Well, if you see there on the screen, Leia's off there by herself, and Thrawn's going at speed 3 right now. My plan was to rush Leia and try to get around and take up home 1 right away and then run away so that Defiance can't get his Akbar.
So your plan is to go around and take up.
My plan is with Chimera and Kuat to swing to the left because Defiance is on the right, and you can see he also misdeployed Defiance a little bit. It didn't hurt him in the end, but he was like, man, I think I did this wrong because Defiance is facing the wrong way now. So I can just move to the left and run away from Defiance, which is his advanced gunnery ship.
Mm-hmm.
Go over and snipe Leia, and then also just focus down Akbar.
Right.
But he was able to do some really good maneuver with Leia. One, to get her around to the opposite side and run. You can see now on this setup, Leia has gotten behind home 1.
Yep.
Now this is one where Aaron and I both decided to call Karnak over, and we were talking about don't be afraid to call a judge.
Yeah.
This is one of those instances where it's very important. So you can see how Akbar is lined up here, and this is kind of he kind of made the mistake that I made in my first match, and not taking more time on the maneuver. This is after he had attacked, and he now has already moved. Mm-hmm. And getting an extra click at the end, he could have then swung his butt more to where his side would be fully flush into my Kuat, where there was no question. But because he didn't, I had a really close shot right on the line, not clipping his line to get to this front arc as well. And this is close range. It's kind of hard to tell. And it's also barely in close range because you can't tell, but you can see my Kuat's kind of like tilted like a little weirdly. Mm-hmm. This is because we're on one of the these stables with Tater, and I'm on an edge, so my Kuat's like teetering. See on the back right, I put like a little marker there, just to mark where it's supposed to be because there's a lot of wobbling going on. So we called Karnak over. He had us both just push our ships down to keep them level and flush with the board. Then he took a measurement for distance on both hulls. It was close range barely. And then he did a measurement with a tool where he basically got on a chair just so he could look down to see if I'm clearing his line to get to his front. Now, and the thing is, this was very important.
No, I know, but I can just see him.
Yeah, well, you guys have seen the picture already of the day one.
Yeah.
But and that he was, because this was a very important call, and Aaron and I were both like, you know what, we want to make sure we want to get a neutral call here.
No, I mean it's true. Yeah.
If I do get the shot, that means I get to hit that bar twice with the Kuat front arc. If not, only once.
Right.
So the measurement does go my way. I'm at close range with both shots, and I do have line of sight on both arcs, barely on the front. So I'm able to do a double Kuat shot into the front of home one, but I've already made another mistake. If you guys can see, let me see. So middle of the squad ball there on the left, you see Jonas sitting there. He's now locked down by Charbet.
Oh. Okay.
That's where they were at the end, I think, of round 2 squad phase.
Okay.
And I was playing, I don't know why, playing Cage with Jonas. I had plenty of room and range to just fly Jonas up into the side of home one, and knowing where he's going to go with home one. I don't care if Char and his aliens come and lock Jonas down, because he doesn't. He can just be next to the ship to give me the accuracies. I didn't. I played cagey. Now he's locked down. Well, not locked down yet because he has grit, but I'm obviously going with the Kuat first. So I need the Kuat to take the shot.
Yeah.
Because I'm first player, before he can then move Akbar out of the mistake he made. So I can't go with Chimera first to move Jonas over to get the accuracy. Accuracy I need.
You have a squadron on command?
Not on the Kuat. No.
Well, Thrawn?
No. I have not rebuilt a Throndal yet.
Okay.
And my Throndals were engineerings on this one, because I knew I was going to be taking a hammer and I need to repair it. But I could have moved Jonas in the squad phase the round before to get him right up into, and I don't know why I did. I just boneheaded stupid mistakes, and it made a difference. Let me go to the next picture. This is after I took my shot, but just to tell you about the shots.
Yeah.
Both shots I did incredible damage, high amounts of damage, and even Aaron pulled a crit on my first APT that made him drop 4 shields on one side.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one. It was just complete utter devastation, except on both shots, even with leading shot rerolls, I didn't get a single accuracy. So I couldn't stop his brace. He was able to brace to half both times.
Wow.
I would have one-shot at Akbar if I would just moved Jonas around before to get the free accuracy for every shot. I would have one-shot at Akbar. As it is, where he's at right now, he's sitting on I think 3 or 4 health remaining. And because he was in my way, I was trying desperately to do a speed 3 nav dial, take evasive action turn to get out of range of Defiance on the far right there, because I'm about to take the same back.
Yes, you are.
Barely in range again. Karnak actually came over again. He was just watching us play.
Yeah.
And I went over the measure. I was like, oh, that's ultra close. And he just looked like, no, that's in. I was like, all right. I was like, please be out. But no, it wasn't out. Because the maneuver I had to do, because I didn't want to ram home one, because if I rammed home one, I certainly was going to be in range of Defiance.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, if I would have killed home one with the one shot, which I would have done if I would have put Jonas in the right place at the beginning, again, all these things just compound these mistakes. I would have had the room to maneuver and swing my butt to where Defiance doesn't have a shot on me in this picture. Instead, he does, and again, can a Defiance with home one giving him free accuracies, one shot, the Star Destroyer does not have electronic countermeasures. Yes, he can. He's get a free lockdown my brace every shot. Palpatine evaporates, no problem. So then here we are here. This is right before I take a long-range pot shot with only 3 red dice, because it's obstructed. But you can see I moved Merrick over there with the squad command to help. Akbar only has, I think he healed. Akbar's at 4 health remaining, but combined with Merrick, and I got lucky on my red dice. He had no brace left because he burned it on the Kuat shots. He braced and burned it to save it. I was able to get exactly enough to kill Akbar.
Okay.
And
where's Jendon over here? I'm trying to see. Can you see?
Oh no, Jendon's way over here.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
He's being locked down right now. Like Shara and his aliens are locking down that ball.
Wow.
Next picture. Yeah, this is the end of the game. Chimera was never in danger. Defiance, of course, was never in danger.
Nope.
But the problem is, yes, I killed Akbar. That wasn't his objective ship. He killed my Kuat, which was worth double points.
Yeah.
So he was able to get a 7-4 victory. It was a 4-7 loss for me. So at this point, I'm sitting at 5 points with only 1 round to play. There's no chance that I can even be in contention. Yeah, I was really upset with myself. Again, it's so many boneheaded mistakes that I made. That again, as you guys have seen up to this point so far, every single one of my matches, I don't think there's any major flaw in my fleet build, except maybe putting electronic countermeasures on the Kuat. Other than that, every single game I played, if I would have played a mistake-free game,
Right.
I think I win every game. And not only that, I think I win every game by a lot.
Okay.
Trying to be as objective as I can, but just looking back,
Right.
all of my losses and even my wins that were barely close were losses and only barely wins because I made key, and not even like, ooh, this could have gone one way or the other way, just stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
Not mistakes like I'm going to make a strategic choice and it goes this way or not. We were just dumb. Just being stupid. And it was just, and that's what frustrated me the most about how I played over the tournament, was because I wanted to limit making stupid mistakes that cost me games. I didn't. I made a lot of stupid boneheaded mistakes that cost me games. But, you know, going into my last round, I was playing Paul again, aka Docta. This is our rematch. And in this game, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try. You know, I'm like, I want to get finally a good game in.
Right.
Where I play well and actually put on a good performance. Finally, I was just so mad at myself at that point. Don't get me wrong. I had enjoyed every game. I enjoyed playing. I had a lot of fun.
Right.
But there was also another part of me that I was just mad at myself because of so many stupid mistakes I'd made.
Yeah. Why did I do that?
Why did I do that mistakes so many times throughout the entire tournament? I was like, I'm determined to I want to have a perfect game.
Yeah, right.
Where I make strategically sound decisions, and it just comes down to
exactly. Just the way
the opposite player also making, and not me losing because I just make a dumb mistake and dumb move. So we'll come up to the last game, and this is where I do try a rather unorthodox strategy. There you can see Paul. Hope you don't mind having your face on the channel. I might reach out to you before on Discord to make sure it's okay and crop this out. This is right after deployment. So
what was your unorthodox strategy here?
Okay. Now this is something I should have done in most of my games, looking back.
Okay.
I think it would have actually been very successful. Most of my games, I actually kind of played fast, tried to outflank my opponent kind of thing. This game I decided, no, I'm just going to slow roll and stall.
Okay.
So, I deployed both my ships at speed 1.
Yep.
And as you can't quite see, but I backlined them. Thrawn is on the very back, and so is the Kuat. Just Kuat's on the corner. And then turn 1, I go to speed 0. But so you can see, I backlined and I just stalled. I went to speed 0 right away.
Yep.
And then using that with the nav, I then took a nav token from Vanto and just saved it for entrapment formation so I could speed up across my fleet when I need it. And I could tell it kind of threw Paul off. And he actually said that, he was like, wow, and actually Northern Hero, Rob, was over watching this. He's like, wow, that's really an unorthodox strategy. It's dangerous and scary. And I was actually nervous, like, I was nervous because if his Patriot's Fist was able to get in range of either of my ships at speed 0, he might be able to one-shot me.
Yeah.
But I was taking a risk. So he actually comes flying at me at speed 3 with I think almost his entire fleet. That can go 3, like the hard cells or not, the munificence at 2.
Yeah.
I think one hard cell's at 2, and the other one's maybe at 3, I can't remember. I know his Patriot's Fist is flying in hard. This is round 2. I've sped up back up with the nav dial, not using entrapment yet.
Okay.
Excuse me, with the Kuat, just swing out. Now that I see what he's doing with his Patriot's Fist, basically point myself at the Patriot's Fist that's coming in. Still at speed 0 with Thrawn. This is round 2. And I didn't even move my squad, so they're just sitting there. Just want to see what he's going to do with his vultures. So, let's see, next picture coming in. So this is, I think, round 3. So this is one where, like, very close. And this is where I'm now nervous, like, all right, we're about to see what's going to happen. So a couple things happen. So right in the middle, right above my squad, you see that hard cell there? That's his battle refit that has B2 rockets.
Ooh.
He's out of medium range of Thrawn.
Okay.
Can't use him.
But
He's in short range of the Kuat out the side, but it's obstructed. So no shot. His Patriot's Fist recusant, long range away from Thrawn. So again, can't do B2 rocket.
No.
Now he can still do swivel
Patriot
mount,
fist.
Patriots fist, and everything. I'm at speed 0.
Right.
Round 3, I'm still at speed 0.
Oh.
But he's at medium range, corner to corner. We actually had Karnak measure this for us.
Okay.
Barely, corner to corner, but he was there. And medium range. So he now had a choice to make. When we talked afterwards, it's like, man, I don't think he made the right choice. He could shoot Thrawn at long range and not give himself a raid, so he's not getting TF black dice. But he's still getting a black from swivel mount, still getting Patriot's Fist blue dice. It's Confire, still probably adding a black from that. And I'm defenseless at Thrawn.
Right. That's an easy shot.
But he chose to shoot at Palpatine so he could put raids and get even more. Because he also has the Munificent coming in.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was going to try to focus down Palpatine. So he chose to shoot at Palpatine instead. So he takes that shot. It's actually pretty massive. I mean, Palpatine, he takes a hammer. Palpatine takes a massive hit. So, let's see if I think I got the right pictures here. So next picture, yep. So this is kind of like some squad plays going on here. This is kind of, I guess, a duplicate picture of what's going on. He's about to take a shot into Palpatine. Yeah, about to take, no, okay, I see it now. So he's already taken the shot after Palpatine on this picture. You notice one heart cell's missing. That's because I've gone with the Kuat, obliterated his transport heart cell that was behind the other one shotted it, rammed the heart cell that's directly in front of me to stay where I'm at, stay in position.
Yeah.
And that heart cell now, I believe, is like I was able to take a long range turn before pot shot with Chimera. So that heart cell actually is only like 1 or 2 health. I think it only has 1 health remaining, so I ram it to kill it later. I just ignore it and just ram it to kill it.
Yeah.
So now he has to move. I maybe got some of the timing off, guys, but now he has to move the Recusant.
It's better
right.
when you get a lot
Yeah, so there it is. So some of the timing was a little bit off, but then again, the main thing is he shoots the Kuat instead of Thrawn, who's at speed 0. Then he moves, and this is where he's sitting, and I get to go with Chimera. Yeah, so I basically now I go with Thrawn. It's a squadron.
Of course.
And I just unload into his Patriot's Fist with my squadrons. He takes it pretty good.
Right.
I don't one-shot him.
No, but still.
But takes a hammering. And this is where I actually do my long-range shot into his heart cell. It's obstruct. I do gun routine long and get it down to 1 health remaining.
Okay.
So then we go into the next round. So you'll see that his Recusant, he's first player. So he goes with the Recusant first. And the other round, also, he actually, I was able to stay out of the double arc of the Munificent's only 1 shot. I had split his front arc lines. But he shoots the Kuat again. Patriot's Fist. He actually did a double arc this time because he was close range. He didn't do Patriot's Fist, he did front and side close range.
Yeah.
Palpatine's still barely alive. I was able to reinforce blast doors, get some health back.
Yeah.
Palpatine barely survives. So then I go with Palpatine next. I took a shot at his heart cell that was right there, and I think I whiffed. I can't remember. I think I might have whiffed, and I think maybe
you might have double arc actually.
Well, this is after I moved. Remember, I was facing it right front to front. I think I actually whiffed pretty bad, if I remember correctly. But you can see that I chose to speed up with the nav and take evasive, and swung myself around.
Take the medicine.
Well, just to get out of range, because Palpatine has like 2 health now, with no shields, last legs, and Thrawn is still sitting on the back end. He's now at speed 1, but I rammed.
Oh, good. Okay.
Like I rammed direction, so I'm still sitting on the back edge of the board, so I haven't technically moved at all. And now you can see I actually, on this shot, I think I can't remember if I had him double arc. I think I had him double arc.
Looks like you do.
Yeah. I can't, but I don't think I did. I think I had just a side shot with my squads.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, if you draw a line.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, I pass here, because his Munificent's still coming in hard at speed 2. So I wanted to wait for his Munificent to come in into the front arc of the Chimera as well.
Got it. Yeah.
So I used pass token here. And I used the pass token earlier in the game to also just draw him in. I had 2 pass tokens for the game.
Right.
So this is after the pass token, which he had gone with the heart cell and the Munificent. This is the end of round 5. And as you can see, everyone's all lined up nice and neat for me.
Yes, they are.
So it's a squad command for Thrawn. And so I send my squads over to the Recusant.
Yeah.
and I actually barely get him. With the squads in my side shot, I barely get him. Take the reticent down. Then I have a medium range front to side into his munificent. Get a fantastic shot. Jonas is over there. He haven't moved yet, but Jonas is in between the two of them. I actually place Jonas in between all three ships.
Oh yeah.
So I get free accuracies against everybody if I need them.
Best place to put them.
Yeah, stop the brace. You can only redirect one with exercise 7s. I think you can actually, I think you can see the damage cards up there top screen. I think that the munificent was only 1 health remaining, saving 5 face down.
Yeah, so 5 there.
I then ran the hard cell and kill it because it was only on 1 health remaining.
Right.
And then, yeah, so this is then start of round 6. He's able to take a shot with the munificent into the Chimera. He does have a long-range pot shot obstructed into the Kuat, but I was doing engineering dials for my Thrawn dials, so I was able to heal a little bit.
Yep.
Wasn't quite enough to get Palpatine down. He then, I can't remember if I have so this picture right here, he hasn't quite moved in yet. Yeah, so next picture, this is the last picture, he takes a shot. There's nothing to do, he has to fly right in the front of the Chimera again. There really was no question. It's a squad command again on the front on the Chimera dial. Squads come in,
So they go your squads, right?
and then the Chimera finishes them off. And then I got a 10-1 victory table.
Wow.
So, and that was the unorthodox strategy. And then there's just one final screenshot, just the final state of the board.
Yeah.
I think, that was. So that was a really good game. And it was nice to end on a win. But not only that, end on a game where I actually executed my plan without mistakes.
Yeah.
That game, I think I'm remembering right, and Paul, feel free to correct me, but I think I didn't make a single mistake. I remembered all of my cards, all of my ship movement and placement, squad placements. I think were spot on, and it just felt good after 6 straight games of me just making boneheaded error after boneheaded error. To finally play a game where I was able to actually put the full plane.
See your fleet in action.
Yeah. See the fleet in action, put the full plane together and see it executed.
Yeah.
And to the whole stall maneuver. And the thing is, I know the stall maneuver works with my Preamble.
Yeah.
With my fleet commands.
Yeah.
And there are a couple games. It just comes down to a patience thing. Specifically, my first game against Paul, and my game against Mercier, where I just was a complete travesty of a game. Both of those games, if I would have backlined and stalled, I think I win both of those, or at least make it a close 6-5, 5-6 loss win, like a tie. But a lot of my games, I try to be cute and quick and try to outflank. And let me tell you something: these players are they have their ability to exploit mistakes is top notch. That's top level competitive play. And it was also interesting to play against players that actually are also, I think I'm pretty good at being able to maneuver Star Destroyers, maneuver ships.
No, you are. I can tell you.
So is everybody else that I played.
Right.
So,
yeah.
It's like, I think I'm pretty good at maneuvering Star Destroyers. Oh, my opponent's also really good too.
Yeah.
So he's not going to fall into those traps.
Right.
And outmaneuver me and outflank me and get out of my front arcs. And so it was just one of those. Since it was my first time and seeing what I was facing with 2 Star Destroyers and how their arcs were, I think if most of my games, I should have played like I did my last game. I should have just backlined and stalled, wait for my opponent to come to me, using my fleet commands to then be able to jump up speed, and then hit them. That's the way I should have played, I think, every game. And I think I would have turned out a lot better for me. But overall, my overall experience, I'm very happy with one. Again, made my goal, I made the cut, and ended up 6th place out of 18 overall. So that was very, I'm very happy with that outcome for my first tournament. And
you should.
I'm again very enjoyed all of my games. Enjoyed meeting everybody, playing everybody. Everybody was that I played was fun and enjoyable to play with. High level competition. That's what I wanted as well. It was very good for me to play against players at this top level, and I learned a whole bunch through my mistakes. Of course, that's how you learn the most, through mistakes. All these mistakes I made, they're kind of burned in my brain now, but also just seeing other tactics that other people used was very interesting, and I learned a lot just by observing the other players and their fleet builds and how they maneuvered and did commands, etc. So, overall, fantastic experience. I've got the bug. I want to do more tournaments. I want to do it again. and see what we can make happen in the future.
So did practice help you out at all then?
A lot. Huge. I mean, you and Robbie and Aaron helping with practice. If I had not done practicing, I would have probably lost 110 every single game first day, and then maybe play, and then just play in the casual game the next day. Now, because of all the practice I put in, there was a lot of things I didn't have to think about. I knew how my Sartosaurus would maneuver.
Right.
I knew what my ranges and arcs were going to be based on certain clicks on the dial.
Right.
I knew how fast my squats were, so I don't even have to pull out the measure until I know that that's distance 5 away or distance 3 away. Being able to seeing how other fleets, I know how hard cells maneuver now.
Right.
And reticence and how their arcs go. MC80s and it's just one of those, being able to see and play against all that practice and the different types of lists we practiced against was massive. And I do want to play more tournaments now. I've kind of gotten the bug, and I'm never going to go play in a tournament without practice, I can tell you that. I want to make sure that I practice a lot before every tournament I go to, because the practice was huge.
Good.
Massive.
Good, I'm glad it really helped out.
Yeah.
And so thank all you guys who actually sent the list.
You guys in the comments, subscribers were huge, sending the lists in, but also just commenting on strategies, giving me critiques, telling me what I might have done wrong, could have done differently in the comments, critiques on the list building. I had a massive support team to prep for this tournament. In person and virtually for 2 months, basically. And it paid dividends. And I'm so grateful and so appreciative of all your guys' help. And I look forward to that. And I'm planning on doing a series like this in the future. Yeah. For the next tournament I go to, I don't think I want to do 2 months, because that was a lot. maybe 4 or 5 weeks of tournament that reps.
Now, would you use Thrawn again, or would you do something else?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Okay, well, I was just wondering.
So that'll be something else to think about, because I love Thrawn, but maybe try something different. We'll see. Who knows even when the next tournament's going to be.
Depends if he gets a new Thrawn, the ship painted Chimera.
That one, man. Gene, you really, I'm going to keep bugging you, man. I'm going to, Monday, cash money is ready for you. But I know it's a lot of hard work. Like the detailing you're showing me. I think it looks beautiful on picture. 10 hours, I think you said, in real life. The detailing. That's super fine detailing work, but absolutely fantastic.
So there's one more match I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
And this was an amazing one, I really thought. And I think it's because after the 2 months. It's your match against Northern Hero, Rob, and how you guys just sat down and actually just played a game. It was more casual game, and you guys looked more relaxed. And not to say the tournament wasn't a bad thing to watch or anything like that, but it was just 2 friends playing.
Yeah, it was great.
And I was like so envious of you, Rob. I was like, 2 months I've been playing against him in a full tournament.
Rob and I are ready to get back to casual play.
Yeah, we need to. I think Ben definitely needs to anyways, but that was a good game.
That was fun. Just nice and relaxed and chill. We were both burned out, or at least I don't want to speak for Rob, but I know I was just mentally exhausted. After 2 days, 7 games. It was about 6:30 in the morning.
Before coffee, as Rob said.
Yeah, I wanted to get a game in just quickly before the hall started filling up with the other players of the other matches. It would be too loud and taking up the tables in the Armada area. So we also were kind of playing sort of quick, but we didn't want to take our time. But that was just fun and enjoyable. You played that game very well, Rob. That was we had talked about it sort of on camera a little bit afterwards, but I shouldn't have split again. You guys saw, especially the one with the against Allen, the Republic list, where I split my Star Destroyers and I just got obliterated.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what I did.
It happened again. I did it again. Northern Hero split my Star Destroyers and I got obliterated. It's just I don't understand. It's just something that mental discipline I'm gonna have to work on when I am actually in a competitive scene, not to make those silly overall strategic errors. So, but yeah, it was very fun.
Yeah, you guys look like animals.
Very good to meet you in person, finally be able to play. I hope we can do that more with other subscribers as well.
Yes.
Meet you guys in person at events. If you guys have seen my interview with Paul, Kellorn, Paul, wanted to get a game in. We were hoping we'd play each other in the tournament. Didn't happen. Couldn't get a game in. We had to leave early. But and all the other guys there that I didn't get to play. It's just timing. But would love to play against all of you guys at some point in the future, for sure. And hopefully I can meet more of you guys, more of you subscribers as well in the future at other events as the years go on and more events start coming out. So.
And even on TTS.
Yep, on TTS as well.
He's got a line of people that want to play against him on TTS.
Yep, the first one's going to be Irish Mad Cat.
Yeah,
he's been waiting for several months.
Yep.
To make that happen. So,
told you, James, I'm going to keep bugging him. I told you I was.
Yep. So I need to make that happen first, and then we can get more of you guys on TTS and play you guys, even if it's off camera, just play, just having a good time.
Yeah. So, and then you guys can play your list that you sent in against him and see how it does. So, so it was a really good time that it seems like you had. You did all your goals. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, your second day goal. You're like, I'm going to do number one.
Well, I did not say that. That was not even remotely a goal. But when I got second day, I was just, it was like I had no goals. So I'm just going to go for it and just play fast and loose. And I did, and then got obliterated the first game. So and I was like, maybe I shouldn't just play fast and loose. Maybe I need to actually still focus, even on the second day.
Mm-hmm. So. And Aaron did great. And you got 4th.
Oh yeah, Aaron, fantastic, 4th place. Man, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
People were cursing his name, metaphor. They weren't. They're all pleasant. But man, they were surprised. Like, wow, that's really old school Akbar double pickle list, and he was cleaning up.
Yeah, I was pretty amazed when I looked at that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, got 4th place for his first. It's also his first tournament, but only playing Armada since February.
Since February, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I taught him how to play with Joe. The only tutorial bat rep that's on the channel right now was back in February. I was teaching them how to play.
That's right.
For the first time. So fantastic job that Aaron did. Absolutely fantastic.
And you got new community members up here. The community's growing up here.
Yes. So
I think you said 2.
I hope I remember your names. So Trent, Southwest Missouri.
Cool, really?
This SSD player.
Yep.
He's up in Springfield. I'm trying to get him down here to play some bat reps and just to play in general. And his friend, who's in Fayetteville, I'm blanking on your name. I'm sorry. Even your online moniker on Discord. Man, sorry. I just had a mind fart.
It'll be in the comment part.
But you guys heard me call him out when I did my acknowledgements video. I called him out there. But yeah, he lives in Fayetteville, so we have even more guys to play. But like we got Joe, who's Aaron's friend. There's another Ben that plays. That's also brand new. So we actually have our community is growing here just in the Northwest Arkansas area. So we're gonna see what we can do with that.
I mean, that's great.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So happy to see the game growing.
Yes.
And it had been dead for years, especially in this area. I mean, for 3 years I was the only player. Yeah. And it was just Rob and Buster and Albert. Whenever I would just bring my stuff over, we do a campaign. Yeah. But like, as far as other players outside of our circle and people owning stuff instead of me, it was just. But now it's growing. Now it's growing. It's so I love it. I hope it keeps going that way.
Well, the bug bit me. You already know that. I got a bunch of the Clone Wars stuff in, and the bug bit me watching him go to the tournament, practicing, and then going actually at the tournament. So I would like to go to a tournament in the future, and I would be working on Akbar, evolving Akbar. As mentioned to you.
Yep, someone in the comments said that.
Commented that they would like to see more.
Might have been Matt Songs. By the way, Matt, you said it's like you don't have to say my last name every time, but there's multiple Matts in the comments actually. So
and for some reason, just rolls off our tongues.
Yeah, Matt Songs. I think you were the one that mentioned that you would like to see us do that. Maybe
evolve commanders.
Do evolve commanders. Maybe do an Akbar. Just play Akbar several matches in a row and have Rob learn and just evolve a list. And prep for,
I think I'll be doing that. We're going to give it a couple months probably.
Yeah, because we're definitely going to be getting back to subscriber lists.
Yes,
definitely for August for sure. Lots of subscriber lists to get back to that. Yeah, probably even into September because there's a huge. I mean, there's like 20 lists I think.
Really?
On my spreadsheet that we haven't played.
Wow.
So we got a lot to get through on the subscriber list, but we're going to get back to it. Casual play with subscribers. So that you can look forward to that in August for sure.
Is there anything else in the near future that you could look forward to? Right?
Well, just a reminder that when this comes out, you have 2 days to get all the questions answered that you want on all my videos. So I'm going to be announcing the winner to the July giveaway, which is the Recusant or a $50 store credit to Admiral Tater Ship Shop. So Sunday morning when I wake up, probably around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
I'll get my spreadsheet out, make sure no one else has done any recent comments, do the random draw, and then put out an announcement video of the winner, and then announcing the next giveaway for August. These are just going to keep going.
Yep.
Tomorrow, be on the lookout for Rob and I doing a live stream for the Texas Open, and that's being the tournament organizer is Mercier, and the overall game group down there is Mercury Fleet Command. Go to their YouTube channel and subscribe to them. They'll be live streaming it there, and we'll be live streaming that with our own live stream to do color commentary on the matches, and we'll do it as best we can. It might be a bit choppy because, like, I'm going to be streaming their stream while also streaming Rob, because Rob's going to be remote, streaming his coming in, and then me just streaming out then to YouTube. So I do apologize. I don't have no idea. It might be a little choppy and some technical difficulties, but we'll work through it. So, and I'll be there all day. Ron might have to step out every now and then.
Every now and then, yeah.
But except for me to get up and refill my drink and use the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'll be there all day. Trying to figure everything out. I'm gonna have all these screens up on my computer screen. Unfortunately, I have a really big one.
Yes, he does.
It's
pretty darn
and just try to keep everything, keep all these plates spinning. So we'll see how it goes.
So, and thank you guys who actually saw the live stream practice that we did.
Yeah.
For actually commenting and saying, we can hear you, we can't, or this or that, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had a couple guys jump in. I think it was Crazy Kev. Yeah, jumped in.
James Meyer.
James Meyer. James Meyer also jumped in. They just saw the live stream up, and they actually were very helpful.
Yes, they were.
They're like, hey, can you hear this? Or can you hear Rob? Can you hear the video? Like, just to help
us talking over the video and
that
video
stuff.
Yeah.
And someone else jumped in right behind it, and
I don't think we saw who it was.
yeah, but I think you might, you know who you are because you jumped in the live stream ended. So I do apologize for that. Before I could say hi, but you jumped in right when I clicked end, and hopefully I get to see you tomorrow in the live stream and we can get to know you. And I think also, just real quick, I think you made a couple comments in my videos, but I don't know if you've been deleting them because maybe you might want to. But for some reason I can't see them. But I saw the notification that. Again, I'm sorry I don't have the name. I should have put the name down so I could remember because I wanted to mention this. You know who you are. You've made a couple comments that they're about to a YouTube thing to help me learn how to live stream.
Oh, okay.
But I just saw it in the notification, and then when I clicked on it to read the full message, it wasn't there anymore, and I can't find it. So I don't know. Anyway, reach out to me on Facebook,
please do,
or try to comment again. You know who I'm talking. You know who you are. You came into the live stream at the very last minute. Right before we cut out, it was the same guy.
And you were talking about live streaming.
Yeah.
So.
And sorry, I forgot your name, but welcome to the channel if you're new or whatever. So it's great to have you. Hopefully see you tomorrow on the live stream. So. And one last thing. There's going to be a special bat rep coming out next week before we get to the subscriber bat reps again.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you any more about it after that. It's going to be a surprise, but just be on the lookout. There's going to be a very special bat rep releasing by the time we get edited, probably going to be Tuesday. So just be on the lookout around Tuesday, maybe Monday, but probably Tuesday, a very special bat rep.
The latest Wednesday.
Yep, and then we'll be getting back into the normal bat rep release schedule, etc.
So thank you for all your help. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later.